Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. So today we're going to show you how to install a vinyl banner. What we got here is a one color die cut banner, so the text die cut into the banner, and we're going to install it in Jose's 350Z. What up? Yeah, so first step here, already going, is clean off the windshield thoroughly. Make sure there's no Ramex on there or else the vinyl will not stick. Very freaking important. So yeah, let's do this thing. All right. So next step here is basically doing all the measurements, making sure it's all centered. We'll be lining a piece of tape down the middle, 2 pieces of tape on the sides, just to make sure it's all tacked down. So we've already done the measurements, top here, down, and dead center. I think from here on out, I'm going to start making the banners with a little tick, a little triangle right in the middle, so you know exactly where dead center is. Not bad. All right, next step, we're going to do a hinge line right down the center of the banner. And this we'll leave here. Basically, we're going to lift up both sides of the banner, peel off the backing paper, and start applying.
Get my water.
He's gonna get his water. And we got the skyline back there.
So you
has
don't
to be
need
sitting
any,
all pretty.
You don't need any special water. You just need, like, fill it up with water, put 1 drop of soap in it. That's all you need.
That's all.
Like 1 drop. Anything more than that, the banner probably won't stick. Alright, so it's windy as hell today, but
All the fun. So you're gonna make sure that all the vinyl sticks to it if anything comes off like that. Yeah. Before applying any water, make sure that the backing paper doesn't get wet, because if that happens, then well, that just sucks. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to get off the adhesive on the backing. Yeah, this kind of sucks. How are we looking?
alright, so then take your knife or whatever you have and go ahead and trim off the excess. I spray the window and the vinyl.
Nice and wet, that's how we like it.
And then just start from the center. You want to try to squeegee everything down, because if you squeegee it up, it's just going to go into the seal. So start at the top, come down. Start at the top, come down. You're basically just trying to get all that water out of there now, and the vinyl's going to stick. So up here, you're still going to have a, a decent amount that's not squeegeed down. Just want to kind of run it up as much as you can, and then we'll get the rest once we peel the backing paper off, or the transfer tape. And same thing on this side, you're just going to start from the middle rather than the outside by peeling the backing.
Now that hinge is all done, the vinyl secured on the other side, make sure the center line hasn't gotten too wet.
Yeah, or
I
this
think
will
we
happen.
might have, just to show you an example.
Yeah, alright,
We
so
totally did this on purpose.
this is what happens when it gets wet. So what you're going to want to do is get as much of it off as you can, right? There we go. So I'm going to fold that back. Get that out of the way. And I'm going to take my knife and just work the dry side all the way forward.
There you go, nice and clean. Make sure there's no extra.
If there is any
particles.
extra stuff, spray it with water, take your fingernail, and just scrape it off. Putting water on the vinyl is not going to hurt it. It won't hurt the adhesive. Once it dries, it'll all come right out.
Yeah, little bottom bit. It's always that little bit you gotta make sure you get.
Yep. Then it'll come out perfect.
All right.
So now, do the same thing. Peel this backing paper off. Remember not to let it touch. Take your water, spray the vinyl, spray the windshield. Same thing, start from the middle.
Stick boy package.
So if you're wondering why it's taller than some of our other banners, because some cars have more of a curve. So basically the banner needs to be taller, so in the middle it actually fits properly. So make sure when you're ordering your banners, you know whether you have a big curve or not, and you need to get a 10-inch.
And that is actually really important, just because we have found several cars that do actually require the 10-inch tall ones. For the most part, if you don't know anything about it, I'll just include it anyways. But the cars we found, like 350Zs, a lot of the Civics, even the FRS, even such a small windshield requires it. The Skyline requires it. Weird. And I will post a short list below just to make sure of cars that we found so far that do need that. So now this is all centered. Basically, you can see in the center here how there's about 3 inches compared to the side. It's only 1 inch. So if they have a 7-inch banner, you'll have this extra row here that hasn't covered, or you'll be pulling this whole thing up so far that it'll only be about that skinny. On the that's not much of a banner.
All right, so what I'm going to do is go over the front edge really good. So I'm going to make sure I squeegee out all that, because I don't want that to pull up when we're pulling the transfer tape off. I'm going to start from one side. Just separate the vinyl from the transfer tape. Don't worry about the edges, because they're going to come up from now, but we're going to squeegee that down here in a minute. So you want to separate the vinyl from the transfer and just slowly start peeling it back.
So this process, making sure that everything stays down. If anything doesn't, then you'll want to just tack it back down. If anything, you might actually want to dry it out, but looks like that stayed down all right. Yeah, not too bad. So even wet, this adhesive still takes it, doesn't affect it at all. Just making sure that all the water is squeegeed out of it. And that's that. Not too bad.
So now we're to the edges, right? So we've got most of the main stuff squeegeed out. There is a little bubbles here and there. If you notice, like if you see some of these little tiny bubbles like this, it might be hard to see in the camera, and they're not squeegeeing out, that's just water. So if you leave it, it will actually come out in the sun. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is we have to peel up the edges, but if you live in like a colder climate, or if it's just a little chilly outside, this stuff is very brittle, so it will crack and it will sometimes go all the way down the window. So what you want to do is slowly peel up the edge, right? Until you have the window exposed. You're going to do this on the side, you're going to do this on the tops, all the edges. So what I want to do is basically roll this in tensionless. So I'm going to use my squeegee or credit card or whatever you have and roll it all the way to the window, or to the seal on the window, sorry. Same thing with the top. Be very careful when you're peeling this up. Take your time. Don't try to rip it. Just gonna go in tensionless. I'm just gonna repeat this process all the way around the window, and then we'll show you how to cut it.
Good size banner. That was a good size banner.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna trim it. What you wanna do is you wanna make sure you've got it all the way up to the edge. You see right here, see all this water coming out of it? That's all the water we've rolled from the edge all the way down. But you see where the seal starts? That's where you want this vinyl to be rolled all the way up to. You don't want a gap, you don't want anything like that. So what you're gonna do is take your blade, make sure you got a nice sharp blade, get an X-Acto, put it against the seal, and you're not putting a lot of pressure. You're not putting a lot of pressure this way or down, right? And you're just gonna run it right along the edge of that seal, all the way up. Okay, and then that'll give you a nice clean cut. Push that edge down, same thing with the top, all the way. So I like to start in the middle and work my way out. You can do it however you like. I'm not putting a lot of pressure at all. I'm just letting the blade do the cutting. That's it. And you want to take your squeegee or credit card and just run over that edge again. You see how I'm getting the rest of that water out of there? Same thing. Just run that edge all the way around. Make sure you got a nice seal on the end of that vinyl. There we go. Run that edge. Finished product.
Woo! It's looking like a banner.
See, I got little bubbles like that. That's just water underneath. It will evaporate, it will go out. Give it a couple days. If it doesn't, then come back, take your X-Acto blade and just tap it. Just give it one little tap, tap, tap poke. You see that water's coming out of there? Yeah, I'm gonna let that one evaporate. That's it. And you can wash it immediately. There is no wait time.
So one thing I really like about these banners, especially the one color die cut ones with the text cut out, if you do a matte color, then the glossiness of the windshield shows through. Just has a really nice finish to it.